All right, we're still trying to get through this board meeting, and I cut it off at last. Kimberly Akimito's realization that they've been working on this for 4 years. Trimet has been working on improving it for 4 fucking years. Okay, what else do you need to know about Trimet? Okay, talk about stonewalling and turning something that could be done easily into a major, drawn-out boondoggle, which required consultants and the whole 9 yards. Trimet has done it, okay? This kind of is your picture perfect of what I've been complaining about all along. This bureaucracy that's self-serving, that doesn't get the job done ever. They keep pushing it out. So here we are 4 years later, and these idiots are still talking about their public records. And nobody cares. Nobody's going to say shit about it, because that's the way. Nobody cares about Trimet. Nobody cares about public transportation in the Portland area.
We're looking to launch phase 3 later this fall, and we'll resume our inquiry into technology and look at evaluating ECM solutions. So these are our phase 2 projects to date, and I will go over each of them briefly in the next few slides. The first project, the Offsite Record Storage Project, focused on our archived physical records. In the past, our inventory was decentralized and a bit disorganized, so it was very difficult to find anything. So in 2014, we transitioned to a new offsite record storage vendor that offers.
Very difficult to find it. This is your Trimet management. Very difficult to find anything. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know what's going on. This is a goddamn monster that just goes on its own inertia. Okay, there's nobody has control, really. This is government, man. You give them the tax money, they just do whatever they want. Nobody cares, and you can't stop them. Okay, this is what you're seeing. This is government at its best. This is why I'm fascinated with Trimet, because this is the microcosm of all of government, right here, right in front of you. The inefficiency, the incompetence, the never-ending bureaucracy, the self-servingness. It just doesn't end with these people. And this is a great example, this whole public records. Listen to her. Listen to this nonsense she's talking about.
There's a web-based application that provides us with centralized tracking and inventory control. The centralized system also enables us to better track legal retention requirements, so we can be notified of when records are ready for destruction. The next project focused on vital records, and vital records are those records that are essential to the continuation of an organization in the event of a disaster. Our board records, including resolutions and ordinances that span almost 50 years, are prime examples of Trimet's vital records. And in the past, primarily all of our board records were primarily contained in a single hard copy set, and that made them vulnerable to loss or destruction. So for this project, we went ahead and scanned 66,000 pages of board records, 50 years worth, into text searchable archival PDF-A files.
So they scanned 60,000 pages. So what? Big deal. You feed the pages into a computer printer or whatever, and it does it itself. Hey, they've been scanning records for over a decade, okay? And Trimet's just getting around to it now. Well, we know the reason they haven't done this is because they don't want people seeing their records. They've never made it easy to get their records. They've never wanted people to see what's going on here. So that's why they waited so long, and that's why they're dragging their asses, because they don't want the citizens to get the records. Because Trimet, like all other government entities, is a super secret organization which exists for the benefit of the people working in it. They own it, they get the money, they get the retirements, they get the salaries. It's all about them, it's not about us. It really is that simple.
These will serve as a backup for disaster recovery purposes, and also helps make it more accessible to staff who need them. Okay, the Divisional File Plan Development Project. For this one, we worked with divisions to review the high-level agency-wide file plan that iMerge developed in Phase 1, and to drill it down to address their unique records. The new structure is aimed at providing consistent standards for naming, organizing, and classifying our records across the agency, and that will make it easier to find records over time. For example, this is how the legal division used to organize our electronic shared files by name, which is pretty common across many divisions. So the Helen folder belonged to an attorney who left Trimet more than a decade ago. If you didn't know who she was or what she did, it would be very difficult to glean what is contained in that folder based on this file structure. So the legal department or the legal division was the first to develop and implement a standard file structure. So now policy development records like the ones you would find in the Helen.
Can you really believe this? How Mickey Mouse, Helen. I put the files under my name. Helen is the name. That's so Mickey Mouse, I can't even believe it, okay? This is an agency, Trimet, who's supposedly an IT technological leader in the field. And this what she's talking about is IT stuff, okay? This is technology stuff. And look at how they're doing it. Oh my God, I can't even believe it.
Folder will be classified and filed under policy development. So much more logical, intuitive, and findable. We began the development process in mid-2014 and have been steadily making our way through all 9 divisions and each of their 40-plus departments to review and develop divisional file plans. We completed the final review process last month and have distributed the divisional file plans to key staff in preparation for implementation. The next steps for the divisional file plan overlap with these 2 projects, which I'll go into further depth. So now that we have consistently identified all the categories of records that we have at the agency, we plan to map those to our records retention requirements. Thus, once a record is classified and filed under the appropriate category, we will know how long it needs to be kept and when it can be legally destroyed. When we implement an ECM,
why would a public agency actually destroy any records? Why would you destroy any records? I don't care if they're 100 years old. Why would you destroy a record? That's suspicious right there.
The disposition process can be automated based in part on the classification system and the retention rules that we've been building. We are also collaborating with the IT division on a shared drive project. And generally this project involves analyzing and cleansing our shared drives of unnecessary data and then restructuring those drives in accordance with our new nifty, shiny file plans. So for the cleanup part of this project, we are utilizing a file analysis software tool to identify and dispose of rot, also known as redundant, obsolete, and trivial data. So some data, like temporary and backup files, those are certainly rot and they will be disposed of off the bat. Other data, such as obsolete records, are likely rot, and those will be reviewed by staff and either disposed of or quarantined for a specified period of time. We recently worked with the IT division to begin the process of cleaning up their own shared drive. We began with about 67 gigabytes of data, and of that, 26 gigabytes or 40% of their entire shared drive ended up being rot and went away, and that was after the first review. So I checked with IT, and at last count we have about 28 terabytes of unstructured data in our combined shared drives. So you can only imagine, to give you even a bigger perspective, that translates to about 20 million files. So of those 20 million files, I wonder how much of that is actually rot. Guess we'll find out. So after we cleanse our shared drives of rot, we'll start fresh with new shared divisional folders that align with our standardized file plan. I want to talk a little bit about data security. That is another important aspect of this project. Access rights to existing shared folders are very difficult to manage and track. So IT is in the process of implementing a new strategy for assigning and tracking access rights, security access rights to folders. So as we develop new divisional shared drives, we'll continue to work with IT and the business unit to review and set appropriate access rights so the right staff has access to the right data. Once the new shared drive is ready to go, we'll be migrating content of value, so those records that people are actively using and things that we know we need to keep, we'll migrate those over into the new structure, and the remaining items will be quarantined for further review. Legal was the first to undergo this process, and lessons learned have been incorporated into our implementation process. We are currently working with IT, the General Manager's Division, Capital Projects and Construction, and plan to start working with Safety, Security, and Environmental Services soon. We will continue to refine and improve our implementation process based on lessons learned from each rollout, and we'll be looking at scheduling additional divisions later this year. Now, when we launched Phase 2, we knew we would eventually need help from the divisions when it came time to implement these projects. And also, divisions know their records best, so we wanted to find a way to harness that subject matter expertise, and thus the Records Governance Liaison Network was born. The RGLs will play an integral part in Trimet's Records Governance team, and they will be an important part of the project implementation process. Last winter, we worked with executive directors to identify and designate their divisional RGLs, and we kicked off that program earlier this year. The network is headed by Jana Bray, our lead RGL, and she's here. Stand up.
We don't bite.
It's just so ridiculous. It's laughable. I mean, this is a laughable. I mean, they're all laughable presentations, but this is one of the more laughable.
So, she's been doing a great job. She forms as part of our core records governance team and has been doing a great job since she assumed the role last October. And as the lead, she is responsible for overseeing the network and also developing a program to make sure that RGLs have the training and the tools that they need to be successful in this role. So earlier this month, we held an in-depth workshop to introduce the new file plans to our RGLs and focused on file implementation strategies. We also plan to have quarterly meetings, and that will give us an opportunity to bring them up to speed on current projects, also share lessons learned, and provide further training. And the first of these is scheduled to occur tomorrow. So we plan to be well underway with our remaining Phase 2 projects by the summer, and we'll be anticipating launching Phase 3 in the fall. And again, that will be focused on technology, and we'll look at resuming our inquiry into possible enterprise content management system. So much more to come, and I look forward to my next status update to the board.
I'm sorry, this is sickening and disgraceful. So the so-called Secretary of State audit, which was a whitewash in the first place, created a whole series of boondoggle monstrosities like this records, which is taking 5 years for them to do it. I mean, really, what else do you need to know, man? This bureaucracy bullshit is just so out of control at TriMet. It's unconscionable.
Any questions?
How do you do it? There's a special pew in heaven, I think. So, thank you for all your work. And I wonder, on the older material, say from the early '60s, hard copies, does any of that get looked at from a historical perspective as far as keeping it safe for the anniversary or Oregon Historical Society?
Yes, we do have historic.
Okay.
For instance, the board records, those are permanent retention. We need to keep those in hard copy.
We don't want those. No.
We don't. But sure, we do keep historic records.
Yeah.
In fact, we have someone who's been sending us, he must be cleaning out his garage, but he's been sending us really great stuff from a long time before it Trimet
Yeah,
even became
great.
Trimet. It's really interesting to see that
Great.
stuff. So yes, we do review.
Thanks.
And Mr. Board Vice President, I just would note that I think this is an example of the processes that we try to go to when we know that there's an IT solution down the road. Some places would jump to the IT system. We have found that not to be the effective way, that you really have to go through the business process and sort of organize yourself first before the IT solution becomes valuable. And
The fact that they're not organized, that they, as he said, they have to organize themselves, tells you that they don't even know what the hell they're doing. They're not organized. So this is a tax-funded institution that sucks down as much money as it can and just kind of haphazardly does everything it does do. And we already know that they're not accountable for anything they do. It doesn't matter what they do. Nothing ever changes there. Nothing ever will change over there. And they have to get organized now. How many, what are they, 40 years in business, and they're just getting organized.
Kimberly knew that going in, and I think where that effort in that direction has been, I think, reinforced from the get-go. So again, great work on her part to sort of keep us on the straight and narrow in that regard.
And this will save us time. We get a request for a record, Madam Attorney, then we push some buttons and
That was definitely,
voila.
that was absolutely one of the drivers.
Right.
It's among many, but yes, that's,
Are there any governmental regulations along these lines?
yes, both local and
I should know better.
federal.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm good, Doctor. You good?
Just, I acknowledge this is really tough work
Yeah.
because, everyone has their own way of keeping what they're working on, and to be able to modify and move into a centralized or a defined filing structure. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic, but it's also very painful.
Yes, the change management part is
It's
gonna be
just
challenging.
huge, yeah.
Once again, I'm on the side of this should have been done from the start, and they didn't do it. And they're still not doing it, by the way. They're 5 years into it. They might get it done in a year or two. And here are all these clucking hens on the board going, great job, great, the sock puppets. Who'll never say anything negative about anything that comes in front of them because they're sock puppets appointed solely to be a sock puppet. Oh, you're great job, great job. Everybody's happy. Yeah, right.
Kudos, this is really well organized.
Great, thank you.
Dr. Passer, any comments?
Well, I have the utmost respect for you and
Amen.
and everybody on
Thank
the team.
Yeah.
In my career, I have supervised the records unit for the city of Portland, which taught me a lot. And I've also supervised the records program for Tigard. And so I know how hard it is. One of the biggest obstacles we had in both of those places is we tried to get the records more organized, was that employees don't like giving up their records.
Yes.
And you really have to pry them out of their hands. So that's a...
What do you mean employees don't like giving up their, what is that supposed to mean? They're public employees. Don't their records get automatically given up? I mean, what's he trying to say? That public employees are just independent units and do whatever they want? They keep their records to themselves? Jesus, this is astonishing.
big part of this effort too, but great job. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are no other questions and there is no other business to come before us this morning, we will conclude this month's briefing. Do want you to know that our next meeting is April 26th. It is in the White Stag building at 70 Northwest Couch, or however you want to say it. And it will begin with the TSCC public hearing, then public forum, and our regular board meeting. Thank you all for coming today. Enjoy the rest of the day and the sunshine. Thank you.
Thank you all for your patience today.
Okay, I actually got through this entire meeting and I watched it all and I commented on all. I mean, it's a study technique. If you've ever been in university or you needed to do any kind of memorizations. You know, you can't just read something and remember. You have to write it down. In my case here, I'm not only just looking at it, but I'm commenting on it, and that will put it in my mind so that I can pull it up again in the future should there need arise to pull up something. And it's a great study technique. And so, yeah, we're complete. I don't know. This is it's a great way to end on their 5-year public records fiasco. Unbelievable.
You have reached Trimet's customer service team. For quality assurance and training purposes, this call may be monitored or recorded.
I like this music very much.